it is, Warlord Games Victory at Sea IJN Fleet, a great expansion to the Japanese fleet that's included in the Battle for the Pacific 2-player starter. I'm going to turn this around. So in this fleet box, you're going to get 8 Warlord Resin model ships. You're going to get the Kongo, the Zuikaku, Suzuya, Mikuma, Yahagi, and 3 Kagero class destroyers, as well as 4 flights of Mitsubishi A6M20s, and the associated ship cards and damage sliders. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. In the box set, you're going to get 3 baggies with all of the ships and the zeros. So in this bag, you have the Yahagi and Mikuma, as well as the Suzuya. In this one, you'll have the Zuikaku and the Kongo. And then lastly, in the small baggie, you're going to have the Zeros, as well as the Kagero destroyer. So we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at all this stuff. Baggie, you got the Yahagi, Mikuma, and Suzuya. This was lovingly packed by Becky. So, first ship is the Yahagi. Very well detailed, a bit of flash to clean up, as with all resin models. This is the Agano class cruiser. Alright, next up, if I can get it, is the Mikuma. Beautiful ship. Seen this before because it is a Mogami class cruiser. Got 2 of those in the Battle for the Pacific 2-player starter. So, beautiful ship. And then lastly is the Suzuya. And again, this is another Mogami class heavy cruiser. Alright. So in the second baggie, you have the Zuikaku and the Kongo, as well as all the batteries, which are metal, for the rest of the fleet. So we'll take a closer look at that later. But moving on. So the Kongo is the big ship of the set. This is a battleship, as you can see. Its namesake, right there. It is very large compared to many of the ships that are in the Battle for the Pacific, as well as the rest of the fleet here. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. So, beautiful ship. Going to be one of your heavy hitters for the fleet. Next up is the Zuikaku. This is a carrier, obviously. Flat top. You're going to get the bridge in that metal baggie there. It's a Shokaku class carrier. Also a very large ship, so if you compare it to the size of the Kongo, it is just as long or a little bit longer. So these are the 2 big ships, but this is your heavy hitter of the fleet box. Alright, the metal components for the fleet box was packed by Nick, so thank you, Nick. This first metal bit sprue is for the Kongo. It's the batteries as well as the bridge. Alright. Next up is the batteries and bridge for the Mikuma. Need to bend that back into place. And next up are the batteries and bridge for the Kongo, your battleship. And then the bridge and crane for the Zuikaku, your carrier. Alright. Next up is the bridge and batteries for the Yahagi. And then the bridge and batteries for the Suzuya. And then lastly, the bridges for the Kagero class destroyers. Alright, the last baggie has the Kagero class destroyers. You get 3 of them. And then your 4 flights of Zeros. And we'll take a closer look at that in a little bit. First off, the Kagero. So these are all the same. Again, very small compared to the other ships, as these are destroyers. And really, the batteries are molded into the model. You'll just need to put the bridge on. Okay, lastly are the flights of Zeros. It was in a baggie lovingly packed by Rodika, so thank you, Rodika. Here you have your stands and bases, and then the 4 flights of Zeros. So, real quickly, There's your base. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the directions and see what this is for. I don't know if this probably just goes there like that, right? We'll take a closer look at that later, or we'll figure it out later. But the main model are your flights of zeros. So very tiny. A little bit of cleanup of the flash. And then just make sure you paint them well. I mean, probably not going to be very complicated because they're very small. 1/1800th scale, so just do your best. And that's 4 of them, and then now you have air support. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the cards. Alright, the assembly guide and ship cards were packed lovingly by Laura, so thank you, Laura. We're going to start off with the build guide for the ships. Really, it's just a matter of placing the batteries, conning tower, and cranes, or anything else that is included with your metal bits. There's a Zuikaku. That one is a crane. And obviously the Congo has the most components to install onto it. The Kagero the least, because it does have just the conning tower or the bridge. And that's your assembly guide. You also have an insert from Warlord Games. It tells you how to work with their resin kits. And then on this side, obviously, is just information on how to contact them and email them and all that fun stuff. So you have your damage sliders, always useful. Definitely need them for the ship cards. And now, I'm going to lower this just a little bit. We're going to take a look at the ship cards. So we're going to start with the Zuikaku class aircraft carrier. Flank speed of 7, got an armor of 3, hull 6421. Traits: carrier, torpedo belt, 2 aircraft. It carries up to 18 flights. Its weapon systems include light guns, 16 of them, and then AA batteries. So, on the other side, just the refits and some information about the Zuikaku and the Zuikaku specifically. Alright. Next up, the Agano class light cruiser. Flank speed of 7, armor of 2, hull is 17.5. Has traits of aircraft 3, armored deck, torpedo belt 2. Has ABX turrets, has AA batteries, and it does carry torpedoes on the port and starboard sides. On the other side, information about the class as well as the ships in that class as well as the refits. Next up is the big girl of the fleet box, the Congo, or the Congo class battle cruiser. Has 70 hit points, so that's quite a lot. I think most battleships have quite a bit of hit points. So flank speed of 6, armor of 4 up, 7324 hull, traits aircraft 3, armored deck, torpedo belt 2. It's got ABXY turrets as well as light guns and AA batteries. And then on the other side, information about the class as well as the ships in that class, refits, and more information on the light guns and AA battery because it has quite a few. So, that's the Congo. You've seen the Mogami before. It was in the fleet box, or the Battle for Pacific 2-player starter. Flank speed of 7, armor 3, 3010 hull. It's agile aircraft 3. Has AB, Q, X, and Y turrets, light guns, AA batteries, quite a few torpedo launchers. On the other side, ships in its class, some fluff, as well as more information on the weapon systems. Alright. You get a second Mogami class heavy cruiser card, so. Alright. Lastly, you get 3 Kagero class destroyer cards. Kagero has a flank speed of 7, armor 1, hull 5.2, has the agile trait, light guns, AA battery, port starboard torpedoes, ships in the class, quite a few, all the refits as well as the information about the class. And there you are. And there you have it, Warlord Games Victory at Sea IJN Fleet Box, an excellent addition or expansion to your Japanese fleet. Battle for the Pacific 2-player starter. In this box, obviously, you get 8 ships. They include the Kongo, the Zuikaku, Suzuya, Mikuma, Yahagi, and 3 Kagero class destroyers, along with 4 flights of Mitsubishi Zeros. So definitely add some punch to your Japanese fleet. And always, these fleet boxes are a great addition to the game. So, alright, if you like this video, go ahead and click like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I appreciate it if you would. Click the bell notification icon to get notified of all new unboxings coming out of the channel. And then click the link in the description below to join our Discord server. That is the best way I can personally interact with you and chit-chat you about Victory at Sea as well as all the other games that we cover on the channel. That's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more unboxings from More Gaming Noob Historical.